evening, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission tonight is to cut through the noise in one of the world's most critical regions, the Indo-Pacific.
We have a complex situation developing. We're tracking the convergence of two major forces.
On one hand, you have rising military power and intense geopolitical maneuvering.
And on the other, you have these severe, almost unpredictable natural crises. This typhoon season is testing the resilience of every single government in the region.
So tonight, we're synthesizing the facts for you, aiming to provide context and potential outcomes, but keeping the analysis clear and focused.
And we should mention, this analysis is made possible by our sponsors. This deep dive is sponsored by ProWave AI and is generated by Stylo News, the AI-powered news application.
All right, let's begin. And we're going to start, interestingly enough, with the weather, because it is not just background noise right now.
No, it's a major operational factor. The immediate, tangible threat from nature is just as formidable as any military challenge the region is facing. We've seen it battered, specifically by Typhoon Fenghuang.
Known in the Philippines as Uwan.
Exactly. And it was one of two concurrent typhoons in the Western Pacific, which just shows you the intensity of the season.
The impact in the Philippines was, staggering. Fenghuang hit as a Category 4 storm.
A powerful one.
Yeah.
Sustained winds of 115 miles per hour. That leads to widespread destruction. We're talking landslides, severe flooding.
And at least 18 confirmed fatalities. But what really stands out from the sources is the sheer scale of displacement, over 1.4 million people.
And that number is so crucial, because this wasn't an isolated event. It came right on the heels of Typhoon Kalmaigi,
which caused 232 deaths.
That's right. So the compounding effect of these storms, it forced the Philippine government to declare a national state of emergency. It's a massive drain on resources.
On everything. Military assets, government focus, all of it diverted to relief.
And as Fenghuang moved north, it remained a significant threat, even as it weakened a bit before reaching Taiwan.
So Taiwan was next in the path.
Correct. As it approached the southern part of the island, authorities there were very proactive. They evacuated over 8,300 residents, closed schools and offices around Kaohsiung.
And the storm did weaken.
It did, thanks to some seasonal cold air masses. But the vigilance shows you just how quickly these governments have to pivot from, say, defense posturing to disaster management.
And the meteorologists are telling us this season is far from over. What's driving this?
The consensus, really, it points directly to warmer sea surface temperatures. And that, of course, is linked to climate change. Warm water is the fuel for these storms.
So we're already tracking another one.
We are. Typhoon Tiankin. It's expected to strengthen in the South China Sea and make landfall in Vietnam around November 29th.
So here's where the two crises start to overlap. If you're a government dealing with 1.4 million displaced citizens, and your Navy is busy with rescue missions, that creates a distraction.
A major one. It creates what we call operational fatigue. These governments are struggling to balance military readiness running patrols, surveillance, with the immediate overwhelming need for humanitarian response.
Every ship diverted to rescue is one less ship on patrol in a contested waterway.
Precisely. This dual pressure just compounds the instability and vulnerability all at once.
Okay, so we've set the scene with the chaos brought by nature. Now let's pivot to the more deliberate chaos, the ramping up of military pressure led by China.
This week marked a major step change in China's military modernization. I'm talking about the commissioning of the CNS Fujian.
Their third aircraft carrier.
Third, yes, but this one is a significant technological leap. It's their first with electromagnetic catapult technology.
Now, for our listeners who might not follow naval tech that closely, why is that specific technology so important?
Well, it's a game changer. Traditional steam catapults are slower, they're less reliable. Electromagnetic catapults, the kind the U.S. Navy uses, they allow for the launch of heavier aircraft.
And more of them, faster.
Exactly. You can dramatically increase the sortie rate, the number of planes you can get in the air in a short amount of time. This commissioning signals a clear move from a coastal defense force to a genuine blue water navy.
And the rhetoric that came with it was, it was clearly designed to provoke.
Oh, absolutely. The comment from a Chinese military expert who suggested Taiwan would be the ideal home port for the Fujian. That's not subtle.
It's a very overt expression of intent.
It's classic maximalist rhetoric. And it was met with immediate strong condemnation from Taiwanese society.
As you'd expect. But it wasn't just talk. This was backed up with action.
A lot of action. We saw live-fire exercises in the South China Sea, and then a real escalation of activity near Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, the ADIZ.
That activity hit a peak, didn't it?
It did. On November 16th, Taiwan's defense ministry detected 30 Chinese military aircraft and 7 naval vessels. And of those, 17 aircraft crossed the median line.
So that's a direct and sustained military pressure campaign, testing their response times.
Constantly testing them. Testing how quickly Taiwan's forces, and just as importantly, Allied surveillance, can react.
Which brings us naturally to the Allied response. You can't have this level of assertiveness without a strong countersignal.
And we saw that from the United States. The USS George Washington Carrier Strike Group entered the South China Sea on November 17th.
A very clear message.
It's a clear message of deterrence, of a commitment to freedom of navigation. Its presence near Palawan sends a very direct signal.
And beyond that classic power projection, there seems to be a deeper, more structural shift, particularly with the Philippines.
Absolutely. The finalization of a 60-person U.S.-Philippines Joint Task Force. This is designed to strengthen combined readiness and, crucially, rapid response.
And it's not just symbolic. We're talking about opening new bases.
That's right. Specifically, the activation of northern Philippine military bases in Bataan province. And Bataan matters because it provides enhanced surveillance over the Bashi Channel.
The Bashi Channel. For our listeners, explain why that particular body of water is so critical.
It's a strategic choke point. It's a key maritime passage that China's Navy would have to use to move from the Pacific into the South China Sea or to encircle Taiwan. Monitoring that channel is absolutely essential.
A vital intelligence gathering point. Now, if we look north to Japan, we see an even more dramatic shift this week.
We do. Prime Minister Sana Takaichi made a statement that was, frankly, historic.
She declared a readiness to militarily intervene, to exercise collective self-defense if China attempts to seize Taiwan. That's not just a policy tweak, that's a political earthquake.
It is a profound departure from Japan's post-war pacifist constitution. Decades of strategic ambiguity gone. Japan is now explicitly linking Taiwan's security to its own national survival.
And they backed it up with drills.
Immediately, we saw the first ever joint military drills between Japan and the Philippines under their new Reciprocal Access Agreement, or RAA.
And what does that RAA enable, practically speaking?
It simplifies things. It makes it much easier for troops to enter, train, and operate in each other's territory.
Yeah.
They can react faster, integrate their operations more smoothly.
Creating a sort of security arc.
A cohesive security arc, yes, stretching from Japan down through the Philippines. And this was all echoed at the global level.
By the G7.
Yes, the G7 foreign ministers met and reaffirmed their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific based on the rule of law.
And when they say rule of law, they're pointing directly at things like the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLS.
Precisely. They are drawing a sharp contrast between adherence to international legal frameworks and China's assertion of what it calls its historical claims.
Okay, so let's try to synthesize all of this.
Huh.
How do the perspectives of the key players stack up against each other right now?
Well, you have 4 major viewpoints in collision. First, for China, the focus is on rejecting external interference. Their spokesperson emphasizes historical claims, rejects the 2016 arbitration, and calls these joint drills political provocation.
The Fujian deployment is their way of saying, we are ready, and this is our business.
Exactly. Then you have the Philippines under President Marcos Jr., who's taking a much firmer stance.
Right.
He's prioritizing alliances with the U.S. and Japan to counter Chinese coercion, especially around places like the Ayungin Shoal.
But he's also dealing with that national state of emergency from the typhoons. It's a delicate balancing act.
Very delicate act. Then, of course, you have Taiwan. Their Ministry of National Defense is in a state of, well, perpetual vigilance. They're focused on monitoring incursions and building up their asymmetric defense capabilities.
And finally, the U.S., Japan, and the G7.
They're united. Their perspective is centered on maintaining regional stability and supporting Taiwan's security through established legal frameworks. It's a unified front against unilateral coercion.
And what's fascinating is when you look at the social media sentiment across the region.
It's surprisingly consistent. Reports show sentiment is cautious and critical of military escalation from any side. But there's broad support for humanitarian cooperation, especially during the storm crisis.
So if we look ahead just to the next week or so, what are the key watch points for our listeners?
First, I would expect continued high-tempo Chinese military activity. The PLA will likely maintain those naval and air patrols near Taiwan's ADIZ. It's a new normal.
Second, The weather is still a major actor here. We have to keep monitoring Typhoon Tianqin.
Its landfall in Vietnam will test regional emergency response networks all over again.
Third, alliance integration. We need to watch that U.S.-Philippines Joint Task Force. Will we see it become rapidly operational?
That will be a key indicator. And finally, watch for diplomatic friction. I would expect more warnings from Beijing directed at Tokyo over its new stance on Taiwan.
Which could lead to more naval movements around Japan's southwestern island.
It very well could. When you connect all these threads, the Fujian, the policy shift in Tokyo, the humanitarian crisis, you see a region that is simultaneously hardening its defenses while its coastlines are being softened by nature.
It makes you wonder, what happens if a major Category 5 storm hits the region at the exact moment of a major PLA live-fire drill? How does humanitarian aid even navigate that scenario?
That operational collision is the ultimate destabilizing factor. It's an unpredictable risk that no one can fully model.
And we remind you that the intelligence presented tonight was gathered using a proprietary methodology. Stylo News utilizes an AI engine that pulls from over 250 sources, traditional news, social media platforms like X, to provide this synthesized report.
And the value in that is its ability to convert all of that raw, complex data into timely, multidimensional insight, giving you a comprehensive view of these events as they unfold.
Now, in closing, we're going to shift gears. We genuinely thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive. If you value this kind of AI-powered analysis, we do encourage you to subscribe to Stylo News.
You can get AI-powered news on demand from www.stylonews.com.
And please follow Stylo News on your favorite social media platforms for continuous updates.
Stay informed and stay critical. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.